All right. So again, my name is Kate if you missed it, and I will be teaching designs today. Again, our primary focus is going to be creating an email signature in Command, as well as a social media graphic and going over how to post that through Command. So the first thing we want to do is go to Command. You can access Command by going to agent.kw.com and signing in. Your command may look a little bit different from mine, and that is perfectly okay. It is semi-customizable, so uh, yours can definitely look a little bit different from mine. But again, we're going to go ahead and jump into designs. If you're not familiar with designs, it's going to be the one that kind of looks like a canvas or paper with a paintbrush. Um, And then if you're not sure, you can also hover over those. Ryan, if you're not getting any sound, you may want to, I'll drop this in the chat because everybody else is getting sound. Sure. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so if you're not familiar again with where designs is, you can also expand this bar on the left by clicking the red and white KW. And it will show you the various different applets over here on the left. For today's class, though, we are going to take a look at the designs one. And once we click there, you will notice again that yours may look different from mine. If you're brand new and you haven't created any designs, you may not have anything here, and that is perfectly okay. These are going to be designs that you've created yourself within your Command account. And you can obviously search for designs, filter those, adjust them by newest or oldest if you're looking for something specific. You can also import designs, and that's what we're going to take a look at real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that button. And once this loads, this is another place where you'll see your most recently created designs. As you can see, I have a bunch in here. You can create folders with the various different kinds of designs. You can click on their templates. Those are KW provided templates. Images, you can click on that one. It will allow you to search for different types of images. You can, again, go back to my projects. That's where we were when we first came in here. And you can also check out assets. So that's where we're actually going to start first today, because we are going to use some of our photos and things like that to create the graphics we're making today. So having them in our assets just makes them a little bit easier to grab and to use for all of your designs, because generally you're going to be using a lot of the same things like your headshot, phone number, things like that. And it's easiest just to have it in your assets to easily pull it in versus adding that every time you want to use it. So when we take a look at assets, the first thing we have is the KWRI provided assets. So with that, you get the colors and fonts that are provided by KWRI. They have obviously their main palette, which is, the reds, whites, grays, blacks, and then some various fonts that you can use. They also have images. Now, those are again going to be a lot of stock type images that you can use for your various graphics. They even have folders with different types of photos if you're looking for exteriors, interiors, if you want to promote your app, things like that. You can find all of the various images that may go along and work best for that type of graphic. Next is text. For KWR, the only thing that they include there is each office is independently owned and operated. Just makes it, again, super easy for you to pull that in to your graphics. Logos, this is where you'll find the KWRI provided logos. You have KW University. You have events like Red Day, luxury logos, miscellaneous, labs. I think the miscellaneous is just the NAR and the equal housing. So you can definitely find those there. And then you also have those generic KW logos. Now we'll also take a look at where to find your Market Center specific logo for today's class, because generally you want to be using your Market Center logo versus the KW logo. So we will take a look at that when we get down to our assets. Elements are going to be kind of like icon symbols that you may use on a regular basis. For example, they have email, phone number, website, things like that. Videos, if you have any videos you're using regularly or any files, they have their style guide and design addendum for, fonts, colors, things like that for KW. Then if we get down into my assets, this is where you can create your own. So if you have branded yourself as an individual solo agent, or if you're on a team and you've been branded with certain colors or things like that, you can certainly create those color palettes in here to make sure that you can easily pull in those various colors and things like that, just to make sure your graphics are consistent as you're creating those. So you have the palettes up here that you can create. All you do is add a palette. And then you can start selecting your colors. I did a red one last time. Maybe I'll switch it up, do blue. So you just kind of drag and drop that wherever is the color you're looking for. Once you've established those, we'll keep one on white and then we'll do another one. So again, you can create your color palette based on your preferences there. You can rename it. As you can see, it says add palette, blues, whatever you want to do. You can then delete them, however you want to do that. You can also add your own fonts if you want to be consistent with your fonts and use the same ones on various graphics. You can upload them or search for certain fonts on the web. All you do is switch those on right here. Once you find some that you like, and then hit add, and it will go ahead and add those to your fonts as well. You have images. This is a great place to add your headshot or any other photos you might use on a regular basis. If you're on a team or something like that, and you need multiple agent photos, you can add those here. And Command also makes it very easy to go ahead and remove a background. So for example, Scott's headshot right here. If we want to remove that background, we just click on those three dots and we can do remove background. And it's letting me know down here that it's started. It went ahead and added it right here. Now I have two, so I'm going to delete one, but just want to show you it's super easy to go ahead and remove those backgrounds if you want to. You can also rename, view, copy, etc., all those fun things. You can create folders if you have, again, multiple photos, headshots that you use on a regular basis. You can put those into folders the same as any of the others. Text. This is a great one to put your app link, your bio, your website, things like that that you may not want to remember on a regular basis, but that you use often. You can put those in here to where you can easily pull those into your designs. Logos, again, if you have your own logos, you can go ahead and add those here. You can add all of your KW logos. And before we move any further, I will show you guys where you can find your Market Center specific logos. So we're going to open a new tab and go to kwconnect.com. Now, once we're on kwconnect.com, keep in mind KW Connect is different from the Connect within your command. So it is slightly different. But once we're logged in, we can go to resources, go down to marketing. And from there, the first option is logos and branding. So if we click on that, we can then take a look at all of the various logos that we can access. So if you scroll down, you'll find generic KW logos that you can utilize. And if you come back up, there's a little search bar where you can search for Market Center number or name. I'm just going to type in a random number today and we'll pull one of these. Once you type in your Market Center number or name, it will give you a list of compatible Market Centers. Obviously, it's pulling any that have the 98 in it, just in case. So you want to find the one that is yours. I'm going to go with 898 today. We can preview it and see that that's the correct logo we're looking for, and then we can hit the download option. Now, once it downloads to the computer, we can go ahead and open that folder. I'm going to extract all. Oops, it's doing it on my other screen. And then from there, Once it has done that, I can go back and find the new folder. Now from there, the primary two folders within that we're going to take a look at is the black and white and the CMYK. When we open those up, and I change the view so you can see them, you'll notice there's various colors and formats. So you have one with a white background behind it, and then you have a couple with no background. So if you were to put those on a, if you were to put this one on a gray background, you may not see that lettering. Whereas if you put this one on a white background, you may not see that either. So it's going to give you the various colors and formats. If we go back, we can then take a look at the black and white. And we'll notice the same thing. We have a few different color options as well as formats that we can pull from. Once I have those on my folder, though, I can go back into assets and we can go ahead and upload those. So I'm going to hit the My Device. And I'm going to pull all of the colored ones as well as all of the black and white ones. And then we are going to hit upload 7. It's going to put all of those in here, so I have them all accessible. Again, if I have multiple offices, I can create folders to use. Totally up to you there. Elements is the same if you have certain icons. Say that you have similar ones to the KWRI, they're just different colors. You can add those here. And same for videos and files if you have PDFs that you're using on a regular basis. Now, the reason we go over assets is because in order for us to add our photo and information to our signatures and graphics, it's just much easier to have those in your assets than to pull them in every time. So now that we've gone over the assets, we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual design. So for that, I'm going to go back to designs, and we're going to start from there. And I am keeping an eye on the chat. If you guys have any questions as we're going through, feel free to drop those questions or comments in the chat and we'll take a look at them. But now that we are back in designs, we're going to go ahead and use this create a design button. Now, depending on the device that you're on, if you don't see create design here, you may have a little plus down here in a circle. It should be the same colors. But in some cases, you'll have the little plus sign down here instead of create design. Now we are creating an email signature first. Some people get confused and think that's under email. However, you're going to find that under social. For the email, it is strictly email templates that you will actually email. So that would not have the email signature. So we're going to take a look at social today and hit next. And if you are interested in any of the other design formats, you can check out our other classes. We do have one that goes over all of those. Now, it did bring us into projects. Generally, depending if you were in projects previously or in templates, it will bring you here. But since I was in projects, it took me there. Templates is where you want to find the different kind of graphics you're creating. So you'll notice on the left-hand side, there are categories. And within those categories, there are subcategories. So there's a ton of different ones, listings, buyers, business basics, holiday, all of that. So you can find all of the various ones. Newly added is they did add some Spanish graphics, so you can definitely come there and check those out. For the email signature, we are going to take a look at the business basics section. So if you want to hit that little arrow, it's going to expand that. From there, you will see that there are a few options. You have email signatures, business cards, letterheads, social branding, and virtual meetings. So you can come here and find Facebook covers. If you want to have a nice Zoom background, you can come here and find that. You can create business cards in here that you can order or send off somewhere else to order. And then, of course, there are email signatures. So there are two options. You get to kind of choose whichever one you like the best. I generally do the white one. That's just a personal preference. But today we're going to go ahead and go with the red one. So in order to access that and start making edits, if you hover over it, you will see that there is a pencil and a use option. If you click that, it's going to open us in the editor for WeBrand. And that's going to allow us to start making our edits to this email signature. Before we go over edits, we'll just kind of take a look at the options here within designs. So once that loads, we'll just give it 1 second. There it goes. So within here, you'll notice that you have the categories over here on the side with your various applets. You have images, text, logos, elements, the KWLS, animation, and then support. Now, a lot of these up here are going to be similar to what we're looking at in assets. So if we are on images, you'll notice we have stock photos. If we click workspace, those are going to be the KWRI provided assets we were taking a look at before. You have the various folders and the images. You can also search. And then we have my assets. Now that's going to show me the photos I had uploaded for mine. And same if we take a look at text, you'll notice we have add new text. You have banners, which are kind of like text images. You then have workspace, which is again, those KWRI provided assets. And then my assets. So you can find the ones that I have included for myself. Logos is the same. You have the KWRI provided under workspace, and then you have your own under mine. Elements, same thing. You can find stock as well as the KWRI and assets. For listings, we'll come back and take a look at this one on the social graphic we create. And then animation, we will also take a look at this quickly on the social piece that we create. Obviously for email signatures, since it's a flat image, the animation won't work. But if we're posting that to social media, we can take a look at that. Other things to pay attention to, if you are clicked on the design, you'll notice the bar up here does change. Whereas if you're clicked off of the image, you have drawing, shapes, frames, and then text. And when you're clicked on it, it is going to vary depending on what piece of, if you're clicked on a photo versus text, it is going to change those options up top. So let's go ahead and get started on editing this. So the first thing we're going to replace is the photo. So if we click on the photo and we go to images, we can then swap out the photo with our own. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can click on it, drag and drop when it's in that little square, or you can use this double arrow. This is going to be a replace image, and it will put that in that exact little box. So it's kind of nice that they have that. I don't like the fact that this has new background, so I'm going to switch that back. But just wanted to show the various ways to swap those photos out. Now, once that's applied, you can double click on it if your head's being cut off or if you want to zoom in. You can do that by double clicking on the image and then moving it around. Once you have it where you want it, you do want to click this done. This is essentially your save for that specific piece. So once we have that where we want it, we're good to go. The next thing we'll take a look at is the logo. Now, the logo can be a little tricky to click on sometimes. Sometimes you got to keep clicking until you get it. But once you have it, you can then go ahead and swap that out the same. It should put it in a fairly similar size box. You can also add a different one. If you want the one with the white background, you can just click on that and add it. From there, you can then resize it, whatever you want to do there. Totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So I'm going to hit the delete on my keyboard. If I don't like where this is, I can certainly relocate it, move it around. This is your email signature, so you do get to sort of customize it as long as you're within compliance. So just know that that is an option. Next we have, let's edit our text. So we could swap our text from here, or we can double click and just start editing that. So if I want to just type Scott, there is another way I'm going to show you guys to edit as well if you don't want to double click. You can find the little typewriter button right here and click on that. It will then bring up a box for you to type the same as if you were typing onto the graphic. And again, you can move that around if you want it above Realtor, if you want it below, it's up to you. If you want to change the font, again, we picked out our own specific fonts, so you can certainly come here and find those. You can change the size. If you want to make it bigger, if it's too big for that box, then you just drag it over. It will allow that to fit there perfectly. And then you can kind of rearrange it how you want. The line, if you don't like it or you do, you can leave it or remove it. You can certainly adjust it. I kind of don't like how it sits over the photo. That's just a personal preference. So I moved that up. Next, we have the license information. So again, if you have this plugged into your assets, you could easily swap it over. I don't have a active license number, so I'm just going to type some numbers here. Oops. And call it a day. Again, you can move this stuff around however you want it to look. Again, as long as you're within compliance. If you want to update the address, again, if you have that in your assets, you can swap it over. Keep in mind, if you're swapping something from your assets that has more than one piece of information, and you don't have it sitting the same way over here, it's not going to swap that correctly. So for example, down here, the phone numbers, emails, and the website are all within one text block. So if I were to swap the phone number, it's going to replace all of that with one phone number. So you may want to either type one out that looks like this or just replace it manually. But you could also go ahead and move those and add them in separate text. So if we want to do add, I'm going to do normal text. And then obviously I don't want that. I'm going to replace it with the phone number. And then of course I can resize it and color it to make it the same as the other text. So this is auto. And then our size is 8. So I can make that exactly the same so that it matches. So again, just when you're swapping, if it's more than one piece of information, you may not want to swap it. You may just want to type out that information. So 323, just like that. And then same here. And you can, of course, include your address as well as your KW Command app link. If you're not sure where to find your app link, we do have a video, a quick tip video on our YouTube, shows you how to find that in the consumer section of Command. But if you have it over here in your assets, you can easily just go ahead and replace that. Now, once we have our email signature how we want it, we've updated all of the information, we can go ahead and download that and add it to our email signature. So I will show you guys how to do that really quickly. We're going to download it first. And then for email signature, you can usually keep it as a JPEG or PNG. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as a JPEG and hit download. Now, once that downloads, it does take a minute sometimes, but you should see it download to your computer. Once it's done, there it goes. It had a bar for a quick second, and then it popped up here. I'm going to show you guys how to actually add that over to your email in the settings. So let me get my email pulled up here. So I have my KW email logged in over here. Before we add this to our signature, we do recommend that you host it. Usually, generally, if you host it, it will usually work on both mobile and computer. However, sometimes we do see that not translate over. But this is the best way to get that to work if you want to. Or you can obviously add it directly to your mobile so that it shows up on both. But once you're on this site to host your email signature, it is free. You're not required to create an account or anything like that, so it makes it a little bit easier. But the website is imgur.com. Once we're on there, you can just hit new post. And then we can go ahead and open up our photo and drag it and drop it over. Or you can upload it, however you want to do that. And then there's a couple of ways here to do this. You can do download post, and it will download that. Or in some cases, we like to just copy the image address and put that in. So once we have those, we can go ahead and go into our email. From there, you're going to go into your email settings. So to do that, you'll go to the little gear in the top right and click on that. Now, once you click that, you'll see all settings. That's where we want to click to get to our email signature. And then you're going to stay in the general. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom, and not all the way, but some people confuse this down here with the email signature. This is your vacation responder. So you want to come up just a little bit till you find signature. And then from there, you may not have any created, so you can create a brand new one. Or if you do have one, you can certainly edit the one that you have. I'm going to go ahead and do create new, and we're going to do SLM and 44 of 24. And then you'll notice that I have a blank one. Now, again, a couple of ways that you can do this. You can use the URL that I grabbed and put that here under web address, and it will plug that in. And then you can resize it, or you can go ahead and use the little image, upload, and then we can drag that image over. Now, once you do that, again, it's going to put that photo here. You can then adjust the size to original size, large, small, however you want. If you don't like the sizes, you can always resize it and then add it again. In some cases, it's hard to read or it's too big. It's kind of your personal preference here. Some of these email signatures within Command do come over very large. So in some cases, you may want to resize those. Once you have that uploaded though, you do want to make sure you turn on your signature defaults. So this will allow that email signature to come up for new emails. So when you start a brand new email, or if you want it to come up when you are replying or forwarding. So you do need to turn that on, and you need to select the email signature you would like to come up. Now, once you're done with that, you just want to come down and make sure you hit save. Once you hit save, if you start a new email, you'll be able to make sure that pulls up. So as you can see, it's very large in here, so you may want to resize that. If you need help with resizing, we do have some videos on resizing postcards. It's similar. You may want to resize it a little bit differently based on dimensions, but it is the same general process. We will go ahead and close out that. So I don't see any questions. So if everyone is good with email signature, we're about halfway through. We'll go ahead and take a look at creating a social piece. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Done is essentially my save. You won't see it here right away. It should show up eventually, but if you were to go back into imports, you should be able to find that email signature. You can always edit it. So that's what's great about having it in Command. It's super easy to find if you need to just swap out a photo or a phone number or something like that. So super easy. And not to say that you can't create your email signature in any other platform and upload it. That is certainly something you can do as well. Moving along to our social design though. You can do that the same way as before, where you click create design, or you can just come into the imports and go to templates. Once you're there, you have to decide what kind of social piece you're creating. So for today, let's just say that we're going to advertise an open house. Open house should be under listings, and then you can find that under open house here. Now, once you're in the category that you're interested in creating a graphic for, you'll notice at the top that there are various sizes and formats for those graphics. So if you're creating a social media post, you probably don't want to look at the postcard size or like trifolds, bifolds, flyers. You probably don't want to look at door hangers. You most likely want to be in one of these social categories. I like to keep mine as the square. The square is the best to translate to all of the various platforms for social media. Whereas if you create the story or the wide, they may not work quite as well, or they may cut off certain pieces of information. In my opinion, the social square generally works the best for all of them. So once you're here and you find a graphic that you like, you can go ahead and start editing it. So I'm just going to pick one for today. We're going to go ahead and use this one here. Now, I do like to just disclose, that's not to say that you can't grab a graphic from Just Listed if you like one of these better. You can certainly grab one of these and make it a open house. It does not have to be an open house graphic for you to make it an open house graphic. But we'll go ahead and go back to Social Square. And we were going to use this one. So go ahead and hit use again. And the great thing is that once you've gotten pretty comfortable with designs, it's basically the same process for all of them. You just kind of have to manipulate the specific information you want to change. So as you can see, it's a lot of the same information. But since this one is house related, we are going to go ahead and take a look at the KWLS. Let me just grab a listing really quickly. I'm just going to grab a random one from the website here. So once you're under KWLS, this is pulling from every MLS. So the easiest way to find your specific listing would generally be to use the little filter option here and search by the MLS number or by listing agent. We generally find that the MLS is going to be the best way to search though, but you can certainly use any of the options to pull that. I don't have an MLS number handy, but I did find a quick little address we can use. So we will leave that and go ahead and type that in. Why does it always do this? It always makes me sign in. Give me 1 second, guys. It didn't used to make me do this. It used to like pull it up for me based on my command login. So I think that they just did some kind of update, which is okay. It just gives me an extra step. No big deal though. Okay. So now that I have, oops, pulled the wrong thing over. Now that I have that logged in, you'll see now that it's pulling up the listing information over here on the left. So I do need to make sure that the one I'm looking for is the correct one. But once I find that, I can go ahead and hit select, and it will pull up all of the photos from the MLS, all of the listing details, everything like that, so that I can easily pull it over into my photo without having to remember or type it. So it makes it super easy. The photo is replaced the same way as any of the other photos. If you click on that image and you do swap, it's going to put that photo in that little square or in the same image. You can also select a different one, see which one you like the best. And the same as before, you can double click on that and zoom in. Totally your preference here when you're creating that. Once you're done with that, though, you can move on to the next piece. So if we have an open house coming up this weekend, let's say that it is Sunday, April 7th. And we'll go ahead and leave it as the 11 to 2. We can then swap out our logo, same as before. And then we can go ahead and go back and start putting in the address and stuff. So same as swapping, you can go ahead and find the address and you can swap that if you hit the little, and I clicked it. So if you click it, it will go ahead and add it. If you click on this, it should then allow you to swap it. It's not letting me do it though. It's just adding it. They have been doing some recent updates to designs. So normally it should let you go ahead and, there it goes. I guess I wasn't clicked on it all the way. Should let you swap that so you can plug it in. Now it is a little longer in this one, so I could make that bigger. And then I could, of course, make the box bigger behind it as well. Center that a little bit more. And we're good to go. And then same thing is down here. You can switch out all of the information from your listing. However, if it is broken apart like this, you may want to just manually edit it because it will just replace all of that text. Once we're done updating these graphics, these are super quick and simple because there's not a lot to them. If you're using this for social media and you want to add some animation, this is a great way to do it because, again, it's going on social, so it will be able to use that. And you can start adding the animation where you want. So if you click on a specific item over here on the graphic, you can then do bounce in, swing in. You can kind of find the one that you like the best. It's totally up to you. You just kind of get to play around with it. And you can also do more than one piece of animation. So if you want to do the address as well, you can do that. And then, of course, you can change the options up here as well. Now, once you're done, you can download this and upload it to post on socials. Generally, you do need to download it in order to post it. Unfortunately, because the WeBrand is separate from Command, it doesn't always translate straight over, so you can't pull it directly. But let's take a look at downloading that. Before we do that, we can take a look at that animation we created on a separate screen. It will kind of show that. So you can see it, make sure you like it. And then once you're done, we can go ahead and hit download. Now this is where you have to take into consideration if you are just doing it as a social post, or if you also want to use it in like an email or something like that. So of course the animation will only work if you download it as the video. So let's go ahead and do that first. And again, sometimes it just takes a minute for it to download. There it goes. You can see it downloading down here. Hopefully it finishes. There it goes. And then I'm also going to go ahead and download it as just a flat image for our social post as well. And I actually want to do that as JPEG. Once we're done there though, we can go ahead and hit done. If we like this open house graphic, we can certainly use it again. It's going to stay within our design, so we can come in and edit it, swap out the listing information, all of that. But now let's go ahead and add it to a social post. So in order to do that, we do want to go to campaigns. So that's kind of your little megaphone. And then we want to hit create a campaign. Now we're just doing a social post. We're not going to do a paid for ad. The way I like to describe the different two is a social post is going to your Facebook, Instagram, social media that you have followers or people that like your page. So it's going to people that already kind of know you or have established some sort of relationship with you. Whereas a paid ad is generating new business, people that don't follow you. So that's the easiest way to differentiate those two. Again, we're looking at social posts today. We do have classes on paid ads if you're interested in those. Once you are here, hopefully you've already connected for social posting. If not, we have some helpful videos that go over how to do that, or you can reach out to us. But once we're here, we can go ahead and start adding our content. So as you can see, we have where you can apply text, you have emojis you can add, and then you have add media. So add media is where you're going to pull in your photo. Now, it does say that you can browse designs. However, again, we just run into a lot of issues with pulling those over. Usually it provides us some type of error. So it's best to just download and upload. It's probably going to give us that error here in a second. Yeah, selected design was not ready to use. We believe that's caused because it's created in WeBrand and this is in Command. So browse file. and we can go ahead and find our recently downloaded images. So as you can see, this is going to be the video. I have the JPEG and the PNG as well. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the video because it's the same process for adding all of them. So we're going to go ahead and hit open. And as you will see, it's going to give us a preview over here on the right-hand side. We can play that so we can see the animation, all of that good stuff. Then we can also add our text, whatever you want it to say. This is your post. I'm just making it pretty quick so we can keep going. Everybody loves emojis, right? That's a thing. Again, showing you over here on the right-hand side, everything you're doing in real time. You can change out the file if you decide you don't want to use the video. You can also click the drop down if you have multiple pages or if you have Instagram, and you can view all of those different ones. Now, as you can see, when I clicked the Instagram, it is pulling up another preview just so you can see. This is the reason I go with the Square social piece. It works the best for both of the platforms. Once I'm all done, I've added all of the text, links, whatever I may want to add. We can go ahead and schedule the post if we want it to be at a specific date and time, or we can go ahead and publish immediately. So if I want this to go out tomorrow, and then if I scroll down, I can change the time. We'll do 2:00 p.m. I can then go ahead and schedule that post. So super easy once I've done that, or I can save the draft. But if I do schedule post, it will give me a preview. It's confirming the date and time that that's going to post, as well as the platforms and the previews. And then we can go ahead and schedule post. Now, once I've done that, I can still view it. I can still edit it. I can delete it if I don't want to post it. All of those options are available. I'm going to go ahead and delete. But as you can see, I can also schedule out as many as I want. So I can do this for an entire week or month. It's totally up to you when you're doing that. You will also notice there are some social posts that are quick posts, is what they call those. And basically, you can just share this and it will allow you to share that image, text, everything directly to your social media. So it makes it super easy if you just need some extra content to post. You can also shuffle through those and see the various different ones that they have. They do have quite a few. That is our social post. So super easy and to the point. We have about 14 minutes left. We've gotten through most of the content that I wanted to cover today. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the record. That way, if there are any questions, we can kind of jump into those. If you don't have any questions, you get a little bit of time back to your day. Thank you for joining us, and I hope that this video was helpful. We will go ahead and